zombie apocalypse story. Part 14. K9's and Crooks. So, this is what being human is. Risking our lives for an animal that could be suffering even though we could be killed in the process. The dog will have gone without food for 3 days at least. Common sense would value human life higher than that of a dog's, but I couldn't sit here and imagine its suffering. John pulled up a map on his iPhone. The house was less than a mile away. Before we left, the gals and Toby wished us luck. He would be staying behind, just in case. Tom? Yes, darling, I said, loading a few things into my satchel. I have something for you. Yeah? What's that? Not looking up. Sky came up to me on tiptoes and kissed me on the cheek. Come back quickly. I will. Right. Be good and look after the cats. We might have a surprise for you when we come back. Her face lit up and she hugged me. We left the flat and jogged for 5 minutes to the car park. Got the house keys? John queried. I was notorious for leaving without them. I'm not an idiot, of course I have them. We jumped in and headed off. The drive took a lot longer than it should have done. Having to drive around corpses tends to ruin your early morning commute. But we pulled up outside with no incident. Right, I'm going to go in and you drive round till I call you to say we're okay. Sound like a plan? Yeah, got it, John replied. Don't get bit in the arse though. Please, I'll never let that happen. My arse is my best feature. Much better than your face anyway. I laughed and got out. The street was clear. It was a short road with about 15 houses on it, all with well-maintained front gardens, apart from the one I was heading to, which was overgrown wild and looked more like wasteland, with the brown grass and an overgrown hedge. I approached the door and knocked. I heard soft barking inside. The dog was okay. That cheered me up a bit. Instead of the front door, I unlocked the wooden side door, so I'd not be noticed. I poked my head through and it seemed clear, and I headed in. The back garden had been completely concreted over, looking more like an abandoned industrialised zone than a place to be enjoyed. It was bare, with only a couple of wheelie bins and a 6-foot stone wall on all sides. I approached the glass sliding door, and the blinds were down. I could not see inside. This didn't worry me. The house looked secure, so I doubted anything was in there. I inserted the key that I'd taken from Jane and opened it up slowly and headed in. I was in the dining room. A large oak table with 6 chairs surrounded it. I closed the door behind me, and suddenly it struck me as I was standing here that I had no idea if this dog was friendly. Oh well, time will tell. I made my way out of the dining room and into the hallway. Squelch. I looked down. I'd trodden in dog shit. Lovely. Then something came racing down the stairs and jumped up at me. I guess you're Duke then. The dog slobbered all over me. I bet you're starving, aren't you, mate? Come on then. I stood up and walked back into the dining room and fished out some dry food and tin food and poured it into a bowl. It stank worse than the dog shit I trod in. Duke didn't seem to mind though. He barked appreciation and proceeded to wolf it down as I got him some water. After feeding Duke, I went upstairs, pulled out a couple of travel bags Jane had mentioned, and a few things we might find useful as well. I piled all these things in, along with Duke's food and bowls, when he was done eating. I pulled a lead from the nail in the wall. How about a walk, mate? He jumped up again, obviously eager for me to attach it. Okay, ready? Woof! Great. I slid the back door open again and locked it behind me, but this time the garden wasn't as bare. There was one of them just standing there looking at me. How the hell had it gotten in here? I locked the side door. I didn't have any time to ponder this any further as it advanced at me. It wasn't a zombie. It ran. It was human. As soon as this thought hit me, so did the human. It was a good deal bigger than me, at least a good half a foot and an extra 3 stone. went back through and I heard the glass smash as we headed through it. He was trying to get my throat. He was trying to bite me. What the hell was this guy doing? I kneed him in the balls, and a groan escaped his lips and he fell to the floor. Not a zombie. Zombies don't moan when you kick them in the nuts. And that's not necessarily the main weak point. Whatever it was, it curled up into the fetal position, groaning. I walked over to him and snapped my fingers in his face. Hey! Hey! You snap out of it! He looked up and groaned. It was a good impression of a zombie moan, but this guy was definitely human. His eyes, he was bleeding. That meant the heart was beating. I had an idea. I took a photo of him and turned away to leave. He wasn't getting up any time soon. I picked up Duke's lead and the 2 travel bags and my phone rang. You done? John asked. Urgency rang through his voice. What happened? Toby just called. People are at our front door and they want in. They're threatening to break the fucking door down. Shit. They're going to lead the damn thing straight to us. I'm good, I've got the dog. You outside? Ready and waiting. I ran out into the street, opened the back door of the Fiesta, threw Duke, the bags in and closed, and hopped in the front. Hearing a yowl of protest from Duke in the process. Obviously with the bags must have hit him. We have the rifle, right? I asked John, who nodded as we sped for home. We decided not to park in the usual place, but bring the car to the flats. Maybe the dead we attract would force the people away. We didn't have enough time to mess around parking. We pulled up and I stepped out of the car. The group was 10 strong, armed with an assortment of bats, knives, dressed in various tracksuits, jeans and bargain basement t-shirts and coats. They turned as I stepped out. I'm sorry guys, but there's no space here. We can't take anyone else, I said calmly and confidently. We're not asking, the biggest one, and obviously the leader said. He had a blue and white tracksuit top, jeans and Adidas trainers on and a woolly hat over what I think was a shaved head. Neither was I replied. The group laughed. So you're going to stop us? He advanced towards me. He had a crowbar in his hand. Actually, I hoped you would respond to my good manners and politeness. Another laugh erupted from the group. The man smiled. He was missing his left front tooth. He started to turn away and suddenly swung the arm that had the crowbar at my head. I stepped back and staggered, just keeping my balance. The group roared with approval again. I dropped to a knee to regain my balance. The man advanced. He stuck his head down to my level. That's when I struck. The front drive was lightly gravelled. I'd gathered some up and threw it straight in his face. He staggered blindly, dropping the crowbar. I picked it up and smashed it into his stomach. He groaned, lowering his head. I booted him in the face and he went down. The group looked shocked. Take your friend here and get out. The group looked in 2 minds. Then a bang rang out. I looked towards the car. John was out and had the rifle perched on the edge. First shot's in the air, second blows your fucking heads off, he said. The group took off running, only delayed to help their boss up and carry him away, cursing loudly. I never knew you were such a good negotiator, I said. It's amazing how much more reasonable people are when you can blow their heads off. We chuckled, phoned Toby to let us in and unpacked the car and entered. Turns out Toby was right behind the front door with a shotgun. The girls and Sky had taken refuge upstairs. They'd managed to keep her in the dark over what was happening outside. We explained to the girls what happened and took turns petting the dog, Sky obviously being the most enthusiastic. I headed into James' room to test an idea. I knocked. Come in. Jane was flicking through one of the magazines. I've got you a present. Duke barreled into the room, slobbering on his own, and delighted to see her. After 5 minutes of baby noises, the greyhound settled down and rested his head on her lap, eyes half closed. I sat down on the floor. A creature that attacked you, would you recognise it if you saw it again? I asked. I can never forget that thing. You're so different from the others. Describe it to me. Why? Because you might not be infected. The answer stunned her into silence. She quickly recovered and described the one that attacked me at the house to a T. From the look in its eyes, the clothes, the way it moved, I showed her pictures of zombies on my phone. She instantly picked out the one that attacked me at the house again. That was human, I said. How do you know? She replied. Because I kicked it in the crotch and it muttered, "Oh fuck, Jesus Christ." Don't think normal zombies do that. So I can come out and stay here now, unlocked from the radiator? The look of hope in her eyes was powerful. I said yesterday if you weren't infected, there would be a vote. You're not infected, but there will still be a vote. She nodded glumly and looked at the dog. He seemed happy at least. Look, we're going to eat. Then we'll all come in and discuss what to do next, okay? She nodded. We ate, then the politics began. Everyone had a chance to say their part, but Jane would not get a vote. We voted and the decision was in. Part 15. Humans are worse than zombies. Coming soon.